What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the land of Reckless Logic. Please make sure you guys pop that like button, hit the subscribe button, and please smack the notification bell so do not miss any of my posts from me. Let's get straight into this video. Alrighty, guys. As you guys can already tell by the title of this video, I will be doing a response video to a panel that I was on 2 days ago. The channel of the panel I was on was called Black Men Unfiltered Network. Shout out to that channel. You guys, make sure you guys go check that channel out. But before I even get into all of that, I do want to run my fair use and my explicit content disclaimer, and then I'm gonna proceed because baby, this is gonna get kind of interesting. Let's go, y'all. Disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976 allows is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, always constructive, comment down below, news reporting, I guess that's what we doing, teaching, hopefully y'all learn something, scholarship, we ain't got no money, education and research so you can get a nasty piece of degree, okay? Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Alrighty. All right, hello everybody. Hello. For first things first, I do want to say what's going. Hey, how you doing, Deshaun? How are you doing today? I want to say thank you for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for the super sticker. I meant. Hey loves, how are you doing today? I really appreciate it. Hey Reynolds. I'm gonna call you Rohan. I think your name is Rohan. Rohan. I try to prevent myself from saying your first name only because I'd be like, I'm probably gonna butcher it because I'm known to butcher somebody's name, and I'd be like, you know what, I don't want to disrespect their name. But what's going on, Reynolds? Let's see. Hey Vonner. Hey Derek, how you doing? What's going on? Hey Dr. J, how are you today? Thank you. Hey IG. Hey. Yeah, I had seen it. I was like, I haven't worn this combo because I like this combo a little bit. I wish. I'm gonna try to get some more velvet do-rag. This is like literally the only do-rag that's velvet that I have. So I was like, I love this combo. I got to get some more velvet do-rags in my Yes, you better pimp slap that like button. I know that's right. What's going on? What's going on, NeoX? Let me get some water. What right? Alrighty, so let me get myself together over here. I've been trying to get myself together. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Oh, bam, right here. This is the reason why I did not attempt that first name, baby. Dirt.
I'm gonna work on it. Because baby, the way I said Rohan, John, I'm gonna work on it. Hey Jay Goody, what's going on? Okay, so let me get straight into this video. Okay, so first things first, please make sure you guys pop that like button, hit the subscribe button, and please smack the notification bell so you guys do not miss any more notifications from me. Alrighty, so as of right now, I don't know if I have my mic even plugged in because baby, the way as of lately, the way that StreamYard been playing on my top, I was like, I'm not gonna deal with them today. Okay, so 2 days ago, I was invited to a panel on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. Now the discussion was moderated by it was moderated by Susu and Mandrell. Now on this specific panel, the name of the panel was just about talking about bridging the gap between heterosexuals. I'm going to say more like heterosexual men and the queer community, but however, heterosexual people in the queer community. That was really the basic discussion and the goal for our discussion. So if you guys have not checked that video out, please make sure you guys go and check it out. Please. If you can someone go and get the link and put it in the chat, please? If you can. Oh, I thought about it. I don't know if you can. I'll figure it out. I'll probably do it after. But make sure you guys go check that video out. Really dope video. Things got a tad bit spicy, but however, everything was handled appropriately. the panel was very respectful and stuff. So it was a really good panel compared to a lot of other panels I've been on, baby. So, but I do want to talk about some things that I did here on the show and also in the after show that no one really had access to, but the panelists. Good thing I got this water because my mouth is getting dry. All right, so the first things first. So on the panel, the first thing we typically talked about, and I'm gonna say this because this has been happening to me for like a little bit of time now. It seemed like when I took that week off because I was like, not feeling my best, I was under the weather. It seems like it's been really difficult for me to come up with thumbnails, coming up with videos, like making streams and stuff. I have the ideas, but executing these bad boys, no ma'am. But however, I'm gonna get it right. I just have to get warmed up, but I'm gonna get it right. But so in the beginning, in the genesis of that panel, I wasn't really available because something happened in the beginning. I'm not going to disclose that. But however, I was having technology issues. My sound was messing up. I had my nieces and nephews in the other room, and I was trying to take care of them. I was up there multitask. It was a lot going on. So in the beginning, I felt like I really didn't know too much of what was going on, but at the same time, I didn't. I feel like I didn't get a chance. Well, at least I didn't feel like I didn't talk as much as I probably would have in the video, whatever. And plus, like mentally, I just wasn't always there. So the first thing we did speak of that I was privy to was that we're talking about a gay agenda. Is there a gay agenda? I'm gonna say when it comes down to their version of a quote unquote gay agenda. Now, when it comes down to heterosexual people who are curious about the queer community and their version of the gay agenda in terms of us making everybody queer, making sure everybody, all their children come out queer, making sure that queer people are the only people on top and there's no heterosexual people to ever reign the earth and stuff. That is not true. No, there is no gay agenda. There's no agenda to emasculate people. There's no agenda for population control. None of that. Now, in terms of the gay agenda, in terms of making sure that everybody has, queer people have rights, making sure that queer people have housing, making sure they have resources, making sure there are programs for queer people who may not have it, because maybe they were kicked out of their homes by their parents because they were queer and put out on the streets. But however, in that regard, then yes, there is a gay agenda in that regard. All the other stuff, throw it out the window because that's a negative. Now, I will tell you this for people who was wondering what's actually happening in terms of the way the culture is shifting, and we're starting to see I'm going to say how we're starting to see the culture shift. What's actually happening is that in the beginning, I feel like I'm like the Genesis of the Bible. In the beginning, the narrative was only that heterosexual people existed, cisgender people were the only people that existed on this earth, and also that non-melanated people were the only people that really existed, and if they weren't the only people that existed as in non-melanated people, they were the only ones that deserved to be, in power or have privilege or be treated as human beings. But now what we're starting to see is that all of the scales are starting to balance their way, starting to balance themselves because of the simple fact that now you have queer people being able to have access to rights and stuff, starting to have access to resources. People are starting to see queer people as human and not trying to dehumanize them. The same thing goes for women. Same thing goes for melanated people. Yes, even though I didn't name all of these other groups, and yes, we have made progress, but we still have a long way to go when it comes down to seeing people for their humanity. Oh girl, my throat. Now, so that's really all I have to say about the gay agenda part of things. Now, in terms of, now we did speak on procreation. Now, here's the thing. Whenever I go on panels and stuff, I kind of expect, you know, at least by this point, I kind of expect the same questions, the same talking points. It's actually more interesting to me when I actually see someone come up with a question that I haven't really heard as much, or a question that I haven't thought of, or something like that, even though that still hasn't happened yet. But that would be more surprising to me. I kind of expect the norm, because I understand that the education and also the resistance of education is very much still prevalent in, you know, these type of discussions. So we did talk about procreation. So people have this false narrative of people believing that queer people do not have children. Queer people do have children. Queer people do populate the earth. Queer people do create their own families. And this narrative, this notion that since queer people are going to be on this earth, and it's a way of population control, as if we're just human plan Bs, is just complete nonsense. And it is rooted out of homophobia. Now, the reason why I'm gonna say queerphobia. Reason why I'm saying that is because a lot of the times when people say, when we talk about all these phobias or anything like that, they fail to realize that yes, phobia does mean fear, or to have a strong dislike, or to hate. But a lot of people say, I guess they think more on the definition, like as in thinking of it as something that's very explicit, mean I'm not directly afraid of queer people, or I don't have a strong dislike for queer people, or I'm not for queer people. But here's the thing, is that yes, you may sit up here and you may say, I'm not afraid of queer people, as in when it comes down to fighting, or when it comes down to defending yourself, or when it comes down to when it's time for you to get in the field. But however, socially, you're using fear tactics to explain or to question the existence and humanity of queer people. Now, that is where the homophobia comes in at. And the reason why these tactics are ridiculous, because when you start to actually get into the actual talking points, or people's concerns, people's issues, people's questions and stuff, when you really break them down to their root, it doesn't make sense. So what are some of those concerns? Oh my God, when it comes down to trans women, they're gonna take, they're gonna replace black women, cis black women. That doesn't make any sense, because the thing about it is that you mean to tell me every single time there is a trans woman that is born, or there's a trans woman that transitions, that automatically means that there is a cisgender black woman, she goes off the face of the earth. That does not make any sense. That's the same thing when people say procreation. That doesn't make any sense, because even within the queer community, we have gay and lesbian people who have children, like the brat. We have bisexual people who have children. We have sapiosexuals. By the way, sapiosexuals means that you are attracted to someone based on their intelligence. We have sapiosexual people that do exist. We do have transgenders who have children as well, because keep in mind, transgenderism and being non-binary has nothing to do with the sexual orientation. Has nothing to do with the sexuality. Nothing at all. That's a gender thing, not a sexuality thing. Two different things. Thank you. What's going on? Thank you, Deshaun. What's going on? Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. So those are two different things. I got to do it like this, so people who don't really get it, or they're trying to grasp it, but it's not really, correlating with them, I want them to be able to understand these are two different things. Some people are visual learners. So I wish I had like a little whiteboard up here. Come on, teacher. But here's the thing. Yeah. So this whole thing of procreation, it doesn't make any sense at all, because we even see the manifestations of queer people having children. And now this whole thing of when people talk about, oh, when it comes down to queer people, you know, they're going to they're trying to change everybody, make everybody queer, because you know it's going to be the influence, and they're going to try to make everybody gay through the media and stuff. That doesn't make any sense, because us as queer people, people who are trans, people who are non-binary, people all over the spectrum, with all of the heterosexual representation within media, within studies, within books, within etc., whatever, we still existed. So this idea that with you seeing or having access to representation of queer people of any sort, that's just going to make everybody queer. That's not the truth, because I see nothing but heterosexual people throughout my whole life, but yet I am not heterosexual at all. At all. So it doesn't make any sense at all. Like, let me go through some more of the fear tactics things that people like to say. When it comes down to queer people, you know, they're the reason why queer people even exist. Now, this is one that always gets me, because of the food and the medicine is having certain hormones. That's the reason why transgenders exist. That's the reason why queer people exist. This is the reason why gay men are becoming gay, because they're putting all these hormones in the Similac and stuff. Someone actually said that before. And so that doesn't make any sense, because if we're talking about food that's being processed within our own government, then if that's the case, heterosexual people would be gay as well, because heterosexual people also eat the very similar foods that queer people eat. Heterosexual people also have access to the exact same medicines that queer people eat, that queer people take as well. So it doesn't make sense. And all of these tactics are literally rooted in, they're going off over there. All of these tactics are literally rooted in to create fear. And this is what the homophobia, transphobia, this is where all this stuff stems from. Because you're trying to create a fear out of talking points that do not make sense to their root. I move on. Now on the panel, we did talk about religion in different pockets of the panel. Actually, let me go through some of y'all topics. Let me say, hey Stevie, let me say this. It says, great show. I saw it. Wonderful. Reckless was fearless and expressing his views with a strong mindset. Thank you, Reckless, for standing on your own. Just beautiful. Thank you. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. On that panel, at least while I was doing it, I really didn't feel like I did as good as I feel like I really could have, only because I had 20 other things going on surrounding me. So I felt like sometimes I was kind of out the loop, only because at times I had to keep leaving. Let me see. But thank you. But I did watch it back. I was like, it's not that bad as I thought it was. Let me see. So it says here, my argument to my grandfather and uncles was that I desire to have children. I'm just not attracted to women sexually. And to be completely honest, I'm just kind of tired of explaining my existence to, I'm gonna say explaining my humanity to heterosexual people. Last time I checked, yes, I am queer. I don't have to explain this shit to you. I'm not gonna argue with you about it. It is what it is. I'm grown. I said what I said, and that's what it is. I'm not gonna deal with that. No shade. I appreciate it though. Let me see. Where are you? Oh, right here. Now here, I knew trans person who had a child with a lesbian stud years ago. Like I said, you see. Well, I don't know. You never specified what the trans person actually who the trans person was, but being trans does not determine the sexual orientation. You have bisexual trans people, you have straight trans people, you have gay trans people. That has nothing to do with the actual like the sexuality of somebody. It has to do with the actual gender. Two different things, y'all. Let me see. Oh, girl, yeah, you already know the foods and single mother households. And the thing about it is like it's interesting to me when they say that, especially about the single mother household. Hey, what's going on, Mandriel? What gets me when they talk about the single mother households about that? It's like they say that, but it's like, do y'all know when you guys talk about single mother households, a lot of you guys come from single mother households? Like it just, I don't know, like the logic don't be logicking like all the time. So I'd be like, okay, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. But yes. So yes, we did talk about religion on the panel. And by the way, Mandra, I don't know how long you've been in here. I do want to let you know, I kind of said this before. Gotta make sure because I'm over here glitching on my end. Two female, female to male. Oh, okay, got you. So it's male. Okay, got you. So perfect right here. See, the trans person went from female to male. So went from a woman to a man. So even though this person transitioned from female to male and then look, but here's the thing. I'm glad you said that. The trans person went from went from woman to man, but however, was dating a lesbian stud, pansexual stud. It was the energies that got it. I'll just say that for a whole nother video. That was really good. I'm really glad you said it because girl, I got a whole thing to get into. Let me see. But yeah, Mandrell. Okay, I want to say this. Oh yeah, I want to say this is that you did an awesome job moderating the show and making sure that everything went smoothly and stuff. I really do appreciate that because a lot of times whenever we get on these panels, it goes extremely south. But it's a male to female. Okay, so the transgender was male to female. Oh, so that even proves my point. I'm gonna say that for a different show. I'm gonna leave that alone. But I really appreciate you saying that. But yeah, you did a really good job narrating the show, moderating the show. But yes, so let me get back on schedule because I got a tight schedule. I got like a couple more minutes on this. All right, so yeah, so we did talk about religion throughout the show, whatever. Talked about how religion does affects the minds of other people other queer people, or how a lot of self-hate. I don't think we even talked about so much self-hate. Self-hate is literally within queer people when it comes down to the way that some lesbians or some gay men may actually view trans people and may demean them, or they may look at feminine gay men and demean them just because of the way that they view themselves. Like, okay, I'm already gay, but I'm not trying to be a man, or I'm not trying to be a woman, or I'm already gay, but I'm not trying to be feminine. I'm still a man and stuff. So I think I probably should have talked a little bit more on that aspect of it, because we did talk about religion and how it does affect us in terms of the way that we view ourselves and stuff, and also the way that heterosexual people view us, which also goes to a lot of the talking points that what a lot of people always bring up, which comes down to the whole procreation and why that's such a big narrative, a big talking point that's always pushed, because you're supposed to be fruitful and multiply the earth. Okay, what's going on? Hey, Manny. Hey, Ro. All right, so let's continue. Okay, so colonization was actually we did actually speak about colonization on the panel. And here's the thing, because I want to say Mr. Bennett. Yes, Mr. Bennett, he's an awesome guy, very respectful. I liked him. Mr. Bennett was on the panel, and he did mention and talk about how in some countries, it's not really a religious thing. It's just that because, we have places like Russia, China, etc. They don't really mess with queer people like that. But however, it's not really a religious thing, yeah. But I forgot, because keep in mind, I mentally wasn't all the way there. I meant to say something to that, but I didn't. I was trying to write notes and everything. You also got to keep in mind as well, white patriarchy, colonization is a global phenomenon. Now the reason why I'm gonna say that is because if you look at the way that other non-melanated, if you look at the way that non-melanated countries, non-melanated, locations, tribes, etc., whatever you want to call it, the way that they treat melanated bodies of any sort. Now, these people may not be deemed as quote unquote black, but if they see any type of melanin in one's skin, then yes, there's going to be a distinction in the way that they treat someone that may be lighter in complexion compared to somebody who may have more of a hue in their pigmentation. Oh, I ate that up. Come on, hue. Hey, Rumors and Tea. So yeah, it's a global phenomenon. If you actually take an opportunity to look at the way that, even though China was never really fully like the colonized type of thing, but even when I was speaking to someone, I forgot who I was speaking with. I was speaking to someone, and they told me they look at, now this is what I was told. They told me the black Asians are like the Filipinos. That's what I was told. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And like this okay, so example of that, of like how China and stuff and the colonization would be of how sometimes you would hear or see, I'm calling them Asians. I think Asians be better. How you would see Asians literally, now keep in mind all this Asian, Japanese and stuff, I'm not well versed. Y'all follow me. But yes, but when it comes to seeing, you may see Asians, they may go get the surgery for their eyes so they can look more Europeanized. So colonization is a global phenomenon, and what also goes with colonization is stripping people away from their humanity, stripping them away from their belief system, giving them a new belief system, new ideas, and also making sure that with those ideas they follow straight through. And they have no choice but to follow through because you strip them away from their belief system. But however, this is what they're going to follow. In so many words. All right. So now on the panel, we did speak on and we did talk about parents and children. Now here's the thing. We already knew that was going to come up. We already knew that was going to come up. Now, in terms of them talking about the children, they always, girl, they must be over there messing with the damn dog. Yeah, so now when it comes down to the children and stuff, they always like to weaponize the children. Not saying people on the panel directly did that, not saying any of those things, but I just knew that was going to come up because even at little bits and like little pieces, little times and phases, I did notice in the chat, the children. And so they love to weaponize the children. And I just had a lot of, I was noticing a lot of contradiction because it's like, okay, you said you're worried about the children. You said you want to be in charge of having the conversations about queer people to your children, but yet when we speak with you guys don't know the basics. And if you guys don't know the basics, how can we fully, and I'm saying we as in queer people, because the same way us as melanated people, we don't trust non-melanated people to have that conversation with their children. We don't. Because only God knows what you just might say. So how do you expect the full community to kind of trust you to have that conversation with your children if you don't know the basics? And then on top of that, a lot of times is that if you allow them to continue to speak about their concerns when it comes down to legislation, not legislation, but when it comes down to being in the schools, they want permission slips for, to give out to the parents. And I'm like, okay, if you're going to be there, what's the purpose of you having quote unquote a permission slip? In my head, I'm thinking, what about a notice? A notice is something like, okay, you're going to be there, da, 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 da. But what's the purpose of a permission slip if you're going to be there automatically? The reason why you want a permission slip so you can opt out. And let's just say if they do give you a notice, you're just not going to make sure that your child probably doesn't even go to school on that day. So the question I always have is that, okay, if you want the option to opt out, if you want the option to have a conversation with your child about queer people or identities, etc., but yet you're not educated on, and then when you get the education, you're resisting the education that queer people are trying to give you. And then on top of that, when you want to make the education about identity and queer people an elective, something that people want to have to select, what's the real intention here? Are you really as inclusive as you say that you are? And the reason why I'm saying it is this. The reason why I'm saying it is because on one end, you want to have control of the conversations or da-da-da. On the other end, okay, cool. We're trying to give you that information and the education, but you're resisting it. So what's the true intention? What's the true intention? And then on top of that, I also call it the hypocrisy of this. You take issue with the way that the culture was literally trying to humanize a group of people that we all, and that's the reason why I even brought up self-hate. The reason a group of people that has always been dehumanized, but yet now in present day, they're trying to humanize these group of people that we all have been taught to dehumanize and not see the humanity in. Why are you resisting those tactics at the same time claiming to be inclusive, at the same time claiming not to be homophobic or queerphobic, but yet at the same time using fear tactics for your concerns and reasoning? Oh my God, the children, the influence. That doesn't make any sense. Oh my God, the procreation. That doesn't make any sense. Oh my God, the food and the medicine. That doesn't make any sense. It's fear tactics. So what's the true intention? But yet you take no issue with taking your child into a church to learn how to dehumanize the same group of people. So you take issue with the inclusive information, but you take no issue with the hate. What's the true intention? So I also talked about how when it comes down to with queerphobia, all over the spectrum, when it comes down to queerphobia, it does not only affect queer people, it also affects heterosexual people as well. And the reason why I say that is because it's not only just closeted queer people beating up on, insulting, and harassing other openly queer people. It's also heterosexual people doing that as well. And I also like to make sure that we keep a melanated context. If we know that 9 times out of 10, melanated people are going to be around other melanated people for the most part, because we live in the same communities for the most part. We're going to be in the same schools for the most part. We're going to be in the grocery stores and stuff for the most part. If you have these conflicts of bullying, harassment, etc., there's a possibility within the conflict, you're going to have one in the grave and one being a statistic behind bars. So it's not going to do any good for anybody else. And who can be in the grave, that's a 50-50 chance. And who's going to be behind bars, that also can be a 50-50 chance as well. So it's not good for anybody, in the situation, just to be completely honest with you guys. Now I'm going to say this. Now, in terms of the reverse psychology that was played on that panel, in terms of, it really irks my spirit whenever we get to that conversation, and it was kind of hinted towards. I'm not saying people on the panel did this, but I was watching the chat. But it was hinted towards, and I kind of would say suggested or whatever at different times. it's like this divide of queer people and heterosexual people and yada yada. And the thing that like irks my spirit is because queer people didn't create this divide. Queer people are not the ones making legislation to target queer people. I mean, straight heterosexual people. Queer people are not the ones kicking out the heterosexual children and putting them out on the streets. Queer people are not the ones literally setting up camps. Because now, if you really want to get into the agendas, let's talk about the heterosexual agenda of how there were literally conversion therapy camps, how there was literally narratives running around saying that queer people were mentally ill legally. Let's talk about how within those conversion therapy camps, how shock therapy was very much. Hold up, y'all. Hold up, y'all. 1 second. I just got a text. Important text. Sorry, y'all. Okay. So how conversion therapy, there was shock therapy that was allowed. These children were put in cages, beat severely. So if you want to talk about, what agendas that there were, queer people should be the last ones to speak about any type of insidious agendas. So a lot of the times, it really irks me when they talk about this divide as if we're the ones that created it. No. We didn't create this divide. Y'all did. We didn't jump up in the Bibles making narratives about queer people and making it set in stone that queer people are abominations. We weren't the ones within the pulpits preaching. And let's just say some self-hating queer people were the ones doing that. You know why they were doing that? Is because of the heterosexual cisgender supremacy rhetoric that was insidious, got put into their minds, into their consciousness. The same reason, in the same way, how we have anti-Black people within the Black community or melanated people. The reason why they spit that anti-Black rhetoric is because of the colonization and because of the racism within this globe. No shade. Let me continue. What was also irking me was the victimhood that was irking my spirit. Throughout, I would say in different parts of the panel or whatever, it seemed like they wanted to, not I'm gonna say one, but some people wanted to make it seem like straight people were the victims. Oh, it was straight people don't really mess with queer people like that. It was really y'all messing with us. Last time I checked, I wasn't going around straight people calling them the F word. I never really did that. Last time I checked, it wasn't really, I wasn't the one going around beating up on straight people just strictly because they were straight. If anything, they had tried it with me and then I just had to go do my 1-2 over there. That's something different. But to think that, oh, now because y'all the ones messing with us, it's the reverse psychology. So the same way we have mammies in the women's community, we have the coons within the Black community, within melanated spaces. I don't know what the hell they call I'm gonna call them the Monroes for Flame Monroe. You also have the Monroes within the queer community. No shade. But let me just wrap this up because I do have to make my way over to the Black Man Unfiltered Network. We're going live at 9:30. Well, my time is 9:30, so I want to make sure I be over there on time this time because, baby, we're going to get into it and we're going to have a good panel. But I do want to say this. Now, let's talk about this after show. Now, I'm going to get off at 9:15. 9:15, I'm going to get off. we're gonna talk about the after show. So we had an after show behind the scenes, and baby, it got kind of spicy back there. Now talk about spice on on the panel in front of y'all was one thing. Behind the scenes was something else, and it got spicy. Even though it got spicy, it didn't feel like a fuck you too. It wasn't like that. It was like I said what I said, and they like we said what we said. But I guess if it was weird. It felt like a friendly, like, okay, we getting to know each other. Okay, we cool. We on opposing views because we understand this is a panel and we understand we come from different walks of life, yada yada yada, but we're cool. And so that's what really happened behind the scenes. Now, that goes to this point here. And now this is where the 15 minutes gonna come in at. Now, let me see, can I find this? Hold up. So here's this thing where they talk about, it seems like, hold on, yeah, I got shit going off in the background. It seemed agreeing to disagree, yeah. But they talked about how, because me and Conscious made the claim that majority of straight men, they do give a fuck about us being queer. Now they said that the people that are messing with you guys, that's a minority. I said, shitting me. And Conscious said, shitting me. Oh, come on, no water. And the reason why we say that is because for me, I'm not just paying attention to the person. Because I think it's this. I think a lot of times when we talk about queer phobia of any sorts, I think that when people hear us talk about it, they think of the explicit manifestation of such. I think they believe that when we talk about it, they think of the F word, the T word, the physical violence, the group attacks, the witch hunt. They think of that. But there is a more subtle way to display those power systems. I'm starting to warm up a little bit. It's a subtle way to be able to display those power systems. But the thing is that whenever we talk about queer phobia, I'm not just talking about quote unquote just the man that's doing the action. I'm also talking about the man that laughs at it. I'm also talking about the man that daps the other person up because of it. I'm also talking about the other man that sits back and sees no issue with it at all. So yes, that's majority of the goddamn room. Because if you felt like something was completely wrong in a situation, like something was completely wrong and against your morals, you would have, especially if a lot of the times y'all claim to be leaders and the patriarchs, you will stand up and say something and do something. Because right now, if you saw a man beating the hell out of a woman, if that was really how you felt about, you disagreed with that and you felt that shit was wrong, you would have stepped in. But the reason why you didn't step in and the reason why you laughed and the reason why you did all those things, because on a subconscious level, you agree with it. On a subconscious level. And so now I want to go through some of these issues, some of these situations. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about Ayana Dior. This was the trans woman that got into a very extreme, it was a very minor car accident. It was literally like a bumper, like, just hit the bumper. And with that situation happened, she tried to, attempt to pay the other women or whatever, or the group of women that were in it or whatever. Cool. But the girl, it blew out of proportion. Somehow they ended up getting into the gas station. They got to the gas station. When I tell you, it had to be at least 30 motherfuckers sit up there whooping on this trans women. It was insane. And for those who did not, and the thing about it is so fucking crazy, is that the thing about it, in that situation, If anybody was even trying to break it up, it was the women. And if anybody was even trying to break it up, it was the women. And now that I think about it, it was another situation with another trans woman. I want to say this happened in Dallas. I wish I could remember her name, where she was fighting. I think she was fighting a dude. I forgot who. I forgot she was doing. It was something that happened. It was a situation. I distinctively remember she was fighting. I think I want to say two dudes, and it literally took the women. Literally took the women to literally break it up. I remember it clear as day. The women were literally the ones breaking it up. And I want to say the following day or the following week, that trans woman ended up dead. Executed. Let's also talk about Reese. Reese was a trans-attracted man who was open and honest about his sexual orientation and what he was interested in. He didn't trick nobody. He didn't try to deceive nobody. He was open and honest. But yet, heterosexual counterparts decided to completely disrespect him, call him all types of F words, saying, how can you suck dick? That's not manly. Why would you do that? Putting him on camera as if he's like at a zoo or something. And then shortly after that, he ended up taking his own life. Let's also talk about Chad. Chad was the transgender minor that was beat up and jumped at a park in Deerfield Beach, Florida. And the reason why I know that because I used to live in Deerfield Beach, Florida. And this was the second time Chad was disrespected and jumped. Where Chad was invited to a park. Chad was the one tapped on her shoulder. And when she was tapped on her shoulder, come to the park. Okay. Coming to the park, expecting to, be friends with somebody. Next thing you know, you getting jumped. Let's also talk about the situation where a gay guy was coming out of a grocery store, corner store, whatever, and literally minding his business. Another guy literally calls the gay guy to his car. The guy's coming like, huh? What happened? Like what's going on? The guy inside of the vehicle decides to pull out a firearm just because he did not like the skinny jeans or the tight pants that the gay guy was wearing. And then not only that, the guy that put up the firearm posted the video. Let's not also forget the gay, because now that I'm going down the rabbit hole, some of these cases that we talked about before is coming back to my brain. Let's not forget, I can't remember this boy's name, the gay boy that was humiliated. Girl, get it together. Disrespected, because girl, my tongue, I ain't got no water. Was disrespected by his family because he was gay. Because guess what they did? They shaved off his head and put gay on the side of his head. And remember the video when they were slapping him up and down, punching him in his chest. And then it took Giselle to go and get that boy out of that home. And then the family was trying to have the boy. The family was trying to have the boy go on camera and say, oh, my family's not like that. I shouldn't be taken away. And da-da-da-da-da-da. Hope Giselle said, no. Come here, sir. We getting you up out that household. Let's also talk about the incident where there was a trans woman having an incident with her lover, and there was a group of heterosexual men, heterosexual men, they came up on the incident because the trans woman and the man, they were actually fighting, like getting real aggressive, and they was going crazy. And so the three men was coming up to evaluate the situation because in their mind, they thinking this is a cisgender woman. But then once they found out, because the lover did actually say that this is my girl, and then they found out that the trans woman was trans, all of a sudden they didn't care anymore. They never said the F word, they never said the T word, they never put hands on a trans person. But that's not inclusive, because that situation could have really got deadly. But yet, once they found out that trans person was trans, her life and also the life of the lover did not matter anymore. But let me continue. We can talk about Malik Yoba. How when Malik Yoba went on his press tour interview run, talking about trans women and attraction, etc. Let's just jump into the comments section and see how inclusive people are. Let's see how inclusive people think when it comes down to trans people. I got 4 minutes. I gotta get off here and I gotta go over there with them. Let's also talk about the 3 trans women that were attacked in Hollywood. How they were attacked in Hollywood, and it was videotaped because the trans woman, quote unquote, didn't disclose right up front that they were trans, because guess what? Situations like this happen where you can honestly tell you can honestly tell people the truth, but yet they still want to beat the hell out of you just because they're embarrassed, just because they feel like just because they were the trans person, that makes them less of themselves. You liked what you saw, sir. You liked what you saw. Where the trans women, they were beat, robbed, hit with scooters, beat brutally. People watched, laughed, and as you literally have one trans woman literally unconscious on the ground, everybody just sat there and watched it. Actually, just recorded. No one called 911. No one helped. Just disposed of them. But you mean to tell me whenever me and Conscious are talking about and saying that most heterosexual men do give a fuck? Because I'm not just talking about the explicit shit. I'm talking about that very subtle shit as well too. If it's not a no, it's a yes. And I learned that in sales. If they keep talking to you, it's a yes. If they say maybe, it's a yes. If they say yes, it's a yes. And so if you're not taking a stand and saying no, you agree with that bullshit. Oh, let's get into it. Also, the footballer that killed his transgender girl from top right here, because he didn't want the team to know he was in a relationship with a transgender, which is crazy. Because like even if you do that, you do know you're still gonna go to jail, or they're gonna find out regardless, sir. Like they're going to find out regardless, unless you're just banking on a lot of times where these transgender cases don't even get filed. They don't check to see who the killer were. And we can also talk about one last thing, and I'm gonna get up off here because I'm running late on time. We can also talk about Boosie, Mr. Boosie Badass, the same person that loves to talk about the children, but yet he's the person that the children are the most they should feel the most danger around. When he goes on his rants about Zaya Wade and Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade, go into his comment section or whenever there's a video posted about him. And with all of that being said, all this inclusive talk, they could just miss me with the BS only because the simple fact of I'm not paying attention to what only you say. I'm also paying attention to what you do. And when I'm paying attention to your behavior and your actions, I'm not only just paying attention to your explicit behavior. I'm paying attention to the times that you're quiet. I'm paying attention to the times that when you may give certain body language, as you may go like this. I may pay attention to little things that you may say, as in when someone's making a point, the facial expressions. I pay attention to all of that. So yeah, all this inclusive talk, they can miss me with that. But however, I do want to give a shout out to the panel. I really did like the panel. I feel like the panel went extremely well. It was way much better than a lot of other panels that I was on. But I do have to go. I do have to make my way over there. But with that being said, thank you guys so very much. I do want to say thank you to Deshaun, for your super sticker. I really appreciate it. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate your contributions, both of your contributions. Thank you so very much. If you guys wait, I do have to check my cash app, because girl, I know sometimes you guys be cash apping me, and I be trying to do my thing. Yeah, I be trying to make sure I shout you guys out. Oh, I know Critically Drinking did send me a cash app from the last panel. Thank you, Arshawn. I really appreciate it. Thank you. IG, I just got your cash up. Thank you for your contribution. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so very much. But I do have to go. I don't see any more cash ups or anything like that, so I'm good to go. Thank you guys so very much. That is it for my video for today, guys. Please make sure you guys pop that like button, hit the subscribe button, and please smack the notification bell so do not miss any more posts from me. Till next time, guys, I will see you guys later.